We all operate on a really simple, fundamental belief. It's a belief that kind of drives everything we do, every plan we make. And that belief is this: problems are meant to be solved. You see a problem, you figure out a solution, and poof, the problem's gone. Simple, right? But what if that's just not true? What if the systems that run our world operate on a totally different logic? A logic where problems aren't really solved at all. They're just moved, shoved somewhere else, out of sight. Let's take a look at what happens when this hidden logic takes over. Okay, so you've got a factory dumping waste into a river. The problem couldn't be more visible, right? The cause is obvious. People get upset, they demand action, and a solution is engineered. Seems perfectly rational. So, the factory installs these expensive water scrubbers. The waste gets filtered out of the water before it's released. The river gets clean again. Problem solved. Or is it? See, the pollutants caught by those scrubbers, they don't just vanish. They get incinerated. They're transformed from a very visible water problem into a much less visible, much more spread out air problem. The cost of that pollution wasn't eliminated. It was just displaced. And this isn't some accident. It's the natural output of a hidden structure. Think about it like this. You push a single domino. It falls, the cause is local, the effect is immediate, you can see it happen. This is how we think problems work. But inside our complex systems, the problem doesn't just fall over and stop. It moves. Let's look at a fishing fleet. The problem on the surface is simple. Their nets are coming up empty. The fish are just gone. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Put yourself in the shoes of a single boat captain. For you, the most rational thing to do is to get better nets, better sonar, anything to catch the few fish that are left before the next guy does. It's about survival, right? That individual action makes perfect sense. But when every single captain makes that same perfectly logical decision for themselves, the collective result is a total disaster. The fishery collapses, everyone loses. The pursuit of individual gain, with no one accounting for the shared cost, just leads to ruin for the whole group. So let's go back to our dominoes. To stop the next one from falling, we apply a local fix. We just tilt the board. Sure, it stops the immediate problem, but now the whole system is in a much more fragile, tension-filled state. And this steady escalation, this descent into fragility, it isn't random. It's a path where every single step down feels completely rational at the time. Think about something we all know: traffic jams. We start with a pretty standard problem, a 30-minute delay on your commute. It's annoying. It's a clear problem that needs a fix. So what's the logical solution? The one we've tried for, decades now? You just add another lane. More road, less congestion. It's simple, it's rational. But then something strange happens. A year later, the delay isn't better. It's not even the same. It's worse. It's 45 minutes now. The solution didn't just fail, it actually made the problem worse by encouraging more people to drive, filling up the new lane, and then some. Are you starting to see the pattern here? The cost of pollution gets moved from the river to the air. The cost of overfishing gets moved from this year's catch to next year's empty ocean. The cost of traffic is moved from today's drivers to an even bigger group of future drivers. The cost is never, ever eliminated. It's just moved to another place, to another person, or, maybe worst of all, to another time. And our domino board is escalating right alongside. It has to tilt even more to handle the new pressure. We have to add bracing just to hold it in place. Every solution just makes the whole setup more rigid, more tense, and almost impossible to ever go back to the way it was. The reason these problems stick around, the reason they get worse, is that the real costs, they're invisible when the decision is being made. They aren't part of the equation. And this invisible force has a name. The mechanism is called an externality. All it means is a cost, or a benefit, that gets pushed onto someone who had no say in the matter. The cost of air pollution on your lungs, the cost of a dead fishery on your kids, the cost of awful traffic on everyone who moves to the city next year, those are all externalities. And that's the absolute heart of it. The factory owner, the fisherman, the driver, each one is a rational actor imposing a tiny, invisible cost on the whole system. And because the person creating the cost doesn't have to pay it, it just doesn't factor into their decisions at all. Now, when this dynamic plays out over something we all share, like an ocean or clean air or even a highway, it creates a very specific, very powerful pattern you might have heard of: the tragedy of the commons. A system where the logical pursuit of what's best for me guarantees ruin for all of us. With every single step, with every new brace we add to the board, the system gets less and less flexible. It gets trapped in its own destructive cycle, a state we can call structural lock-in. The corporate governance advisor Robert Monks put it about as bluntly as you can. A corporation is an externalizing machine. He argued its very legal structure is designed to privatize profits while shoving costs onto someone else, the environment, the public, the future. But let's take that idea one step further, because it's not just corporations. You could argue that every complex system, an economy, a technology platform, a whole society, is an externalizing machine. Its structure is built to move costs, to push problems out of sight. And just look at our physical system now. The board is completely vertical. The dominoes are just locked there, held in a state of maximum tension by a whole web of braces. It's fragile, it's precarious, and there's no going back. One wrong move, and the entire thing just shatters. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. When we look at that collapsed fishery, or that gridlocked city, or a polluted planet, we think we're looking at a system that has failed, but we're not. What we're actually seeing is a system working perfectly. It's executing the logic of its own structure, without a single flaw. The failure isn't an accident. It is the intended, natural result of a system designed from the ground up to move its problems, not to solve them.